Right now, there's a room in your house you visit every single day, alone, in total silence, door locked. 10,000 years ago, that exact same daily habit could get you killed by a wild animal. I'm not kidding. By the end of this video, you'll know which ancient civilization figured this out so well they were basically living in the future, and which one you would absolutely not want to visit. Let's start with the obvious question. What did cavemen actually do? You'd assume anywhere, anytime, no rules. And for a long time, that's basically true. But here's where it gets interesting. Scientists studying ancient campsites noticed something. Waste wasn't scattered randomly. It usually showed up in the same specific spots, away from where people slept and ate. Which means even without books, without doctors, without anyone explaining germs, early humans already had a rule. Stay away from your own mess, or you get sick. Simple, effective, and also the reason humans moved camp so often. One theory says it wasn't just about chasing food. It was about running away from their own bathroom, which honestly might be the most relatable thing about prehistoric humans. They also just wanted to get away from the smell. But once humans stopped wandering and started building permanent villages, that trick stopped working. You can't just walk away when you live there. So what did they build instead? This is where it gets genuinely surprising. In a settlement called Skara Brae in Scotland, archaeologists found stone huts over 5,000 years old. And inside some of them, small stone drains built directly into the walls, carrying waste away from the home. That's a working drainage system, before the pyramids were even finished. But, and this is important, this wasn't normal. This was rare. Most people on Earth at this exact time were still working with a hole, a bush, or a very brave walk into the woods. Now, you might think ancient people just didn't care about hygiene. But that's not what happened. The civilizations that figured this out early often became the ones that lasted the longest. And nowhere proves that better than what happened next in Rome. The Romans were famous for public toilets, but not in the way you're picturing. Picture a long stone bench, with holes cut into it, side by side. No walls, no stalls, no privacy at all. You'd sit right next to a total stranger, having a full conversation, while doing your business. Imagine walking and expecting 5 quiet minutes to yourself, and instead you're in a 20-person group hangout. But there's a problem with how they cleaned up. Instead of toilet paper, Romans used a stick with a sponge tied to the end, kept in a shared bucket of vinegar water, sitting right there in the public bathroom, shared between everyone using that bathroom all day. Scientists now believe this habit may have quietly spread illness across the empire, a slow, invisible problem, hiding inside something people genuinely believed was advanced. So Rome had incredible engineering skills and one deeply questionable decision. But they still had a system, because somewhere else in the ancient world, someone built something even Rome couldn't match. Here's a fact that surprises almost everyone. The most advanced sanitation system in the ancient world wasn't in Rome. It wasn't in Egypt either. It was in the Indus Valley Civilization over 4,000 years ago, in cities like Mohenjo-daro, in what's now Pakistan. These people built private, personal toilets inside individual homes, connected to underground brick sewers running beneath the entire city. Underground. Covered. Citywide. Let that sit for a second. Private in-home toilets, connected to a full sewer grid. 4,000 years ago. Meanwhile, some places today are still working on getting that right. And this is where things get weird. We still don't fully know why this civilization mysteriously declined. Their writing hasn't been completely translated. So somewhere out there is a lost civilization that quietly solved a problem humanity struggled with for thousands of years, and we still don't fully understand how they thought. Now, let's compare that to what happened after Rome fell. Because things didn't improve, they got dramatically worse. In medieval cities, people commonly used a chamber pot, basically a bucket, kept indoors. And when that bucket got full, some people just opened the window and threw it into the street. There was even a specific warning shout people used before doing this, so pedestrians below had a chance to jump out of the way. Had a chance, not a guarantee. Try walking through a city where you have to watch the sky as much as the ground. Cities didn't smell like flowers. They smelled like consequences. But here's the part that connects everything back together. This wasn't just gross. It was dangerous. Waste in the streets contaminated water supplies, and historians directly link this to the deadly disease outbreaks that repeatedly swept through European cities for centuries. The pattern keeps repeating throughout history. Civilizations that solved this problem early survived longer, stayed healthier, grew stronger. The ones that ignored it paid for it in ways they didn't even understand yet. So, here's the real answer to the question we started with. Ancient humans didn't all handle this the same way. It wasn't one invention. It was thousands of years of trial, error, disease, and quiet genius happening in completely different corners of the world, at completely different speeds. Some civilizations were shockingly advanced. Others were improvising with a bucket and a prayer. And the wildest part? The thing you do every single day, in total privacy, without thinking twice, used to be one of humanity's biggest survival challenges. It shaped where cities were built. It decided which empires stayed healthy enough to expand. And it quietly ended civilizations that never saw it coming. So next time you walk into that little room in your house and shut the door and sit down in total, quiet privacy, just remember, that privacy, that silence, that's the real luxury, not the toilet, the privacy. And honestly, that's what's genuinely wild about history. The stuff nobody talks about is usually the stuff that explains everything else. If this made you appreciate your bathroom a little too much, you're going to love what's coming next. Some of the most disturbing normal habits in history are still ahead, and I cover one every week. Hit subscribe so future you doesn't miss it.